What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. We're talking about 5 mistakes that people make while losing weight. Listen, I remember when I was 330 plus pounds, I made a lot of mistakes. But I'm glad for you because on today, I'm going to teach you things that I did that I see a lot of people doing. I've been working with thousands of people across the world, helping them to lose weight, to reverse diabetes, rid themselves of prescription drugs, and really become their best possible selves mentally, physically, and spiritually. And these are the 5 mistakes that I see people make in losing weight and mistakes that I made. Number 1, not sticking to the program that you select. If you're going to be a vegan, if you're going to be a vegetarian, if you're going to try Atkins, whatever your the ketogenic diet, whatever you decide, whatever your program, whatever your roadmap is to get you to where you want to be, you have to adhere to it. A lot of people will do it for a week, will do it for 2 weeks, and then they'll stop. I don't care how good or how bad the program is. It's only as good as how long you are adhering and that you're committed to what it is that you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. So the very, very first mistake that you have to understand that people can make is when you make up in your mind, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the program that I'm going to adhere to. This is the nutritional profile that I feel is best for me, i.e. what type of diet you want to adhere to. If it's veganism, vegetarianism, Atkins, ketogenic, OMAD, whatever you are selecting, it has to be something that you stick to. It needs to be something that you're doing 4 to 6 weeks at least to get the results that you're going to need, because within that time, if you're adhering to a good program, a good nutritional profile, you can lose easily 10% of your weight within 6 weeks. That's something that I see on a regular with people who come through my process known as 40 Days with Dr. Joe, and it's 2 of them, the 40-day turn up and the journey. So the first mistake that people make are not adhering to the program that you select long enough. The second mistake that people make is they overeat. And the reason why people overeat is because they're not measuring their foods. Whatever process or program you decide, you have to measure your food. You have to know how many calories are going in your body. That means you must read the food label. You've got to be certain that the amount of calories within that particular food that you're eating, that you understand it. As well as when you're cooking and preparing chicken, or if you're preparing various meals, turkey, beef, or if you're vegan and you're eating garbanzo beans or black beans, whatever you're eating, you have to weigh it out. You cannot eyeball what you're eating and feel and assume that you're going to be accurate in the types of foods that you're eating. You must measure them. You must get a good digital scale and be certain that everything that you put in your body, you know exactly what it is. Because losing weight is all about being in a caloric deficit, meaning that I'm eating less than what I'm burning. So the only way to know that I'm in a continual caloric deficit is if I'm weighing my foods. If I'm eating something that I think is 300 calories, but it's really 500 calories, if I do that 3 and 4 times a day, I can go from being in a caloric deficit, which is going to equate to weight loss, to maybe even a caloric surplus, which means I'm gaining weight over time. So the second issue is people don't weigh their foods. You got to know what you're putting in your body. Third mistake that people make, people are dehydrated. A lot of people who desire snacks, who have what they feel is hunger, is really dehydration. When you're drinking enough water, which is half of your body weight in ounces per day, meaning that if I'm 200 pounds, I'm drinking 100 100 ounces of water. If I'm 150 pounds, I'm consuming 75 ounces of water, so on and so forth. When I'm hydrated, I'm more satiated. And a lot of times when we're dehydrated, we think we're hungry, and sometimes we can overeat when in actuality, you're not hungry, but you're really thirsty. All right, so hydration is very, very important. The next mistake that people make when losing weight is, from what I've seen, people eat and consume too high amounts of starchy vegetables and high glycemic fruits, meaning that they're consuming potatoes, sweet potatoes, rutabagas. They're consuming starchy types of beans, garbanzo beans, etc. They're consuming bananas, watermelons, pineapples. When you're losing weight, you have to be conscious of the carbohydrate intake that you're taking. And from my expertise and from my experience, the more you are restricting starchy carbohydrates and foods that are high glycemic on their index, meaning that they are more aggressive on the body's release of insulin or how quickly the body is consuming or processing those different sugars and that energy. When you are restricting carbohydrates from not only simple sugars, but also starchy vegetables that may be complex carbohydrates like root potatoes, rice, things of that nature, the more we can be consuming plant-based, exclusive of root vegetables, the more precipitous weight loss will manifest because of its control and restrictions on the body's releasing of insulin. So that's a mistake that I think people make, and it took me years to understand that. Fifth and finally is under eating. You'll be surprised how many people who are not reaching their weight loss goals decide, for whatever the reason, let me restrict my calories. Let me eat 800 calories or 500 calories or 300 calories. But what happens is the less calories you consume, the more your metabolism slows down. A slowed metabolism is basically a liability for a person who desires to burn fat. You don't want to starve yourself to your weight loss goals. You want to eat your way to your weight loss goals. And what I'm meaning by that is you want to lose as much weight eating as high amount of calories as you can, so you don't have to unnecessarily cut or create such a surplus of caloric deficit, meaning I'm eating under the amount of calories that I need. So when you put those 5 things together, it gives you insight to the mistakes that I made during my process of losing more than 130 pounds. Hopefully, you'll be able to learn from my mistakes and mistakes that I see other people make in order to live the best life that you can. Until next time, be blessed. Peace.